We will start with the presentation for lesson 3.2, linear functions. Again, in our presentation, we will explain the main ideas. We will not go into details or the terminologies or the meaning of linear function or whatsoever. These deeper ideas are supposed to be explained in class, and you need to make sure that you understand them in class. In the video, we will explain only the main ideas of this lesson, and this lesson has only 3 ideas. Evaluating functions given a value of x, writing a function given a table, and maybe probably graph it as well, writing a function given a word problem and graph it. Okay, start with the first idea, evaluating functions. So they might ask you to find f of 2. F of 2 means f of x when x equals 2. And f of negative 1 means f of x when x equals negative 1. So you're going to go to your function. Instead of each x, you will write it as 2 because you want to find f of 2, let's say. Okay, so if I want to find f of 2, instead of x, I will replace it by 2. So 5, instead of x, I'm going to write it as 2 in a bracket, of course, because there is a multiplication between them, plus 1. 5 times 2 is basically 10. Plus 1, the idea is the answer is 11, and that's the value of f of 2. That's it. That's simple. Now let's do the other idea. The other one, it's basically f of negative 1. Instead of x, we write it as negative 1 plus 1. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5 plus 1. It's going to be negative 4, and that's the value of f of negative 1 for this function. Do you think that f of 2 will be the same value here? Of course not, because we have a different function. So let's go ahead and do f of 2. I'm not gonna get 11 here again, because here we have another function. So negative 3 times 2 plus 8. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, plus the 8 is basically 2, and that's the value of f of 2 for this function. So value of f of 2 for every function is different. It's not the same. Now here, f of negative 1, same here. I'm not gonna get negative 4 because I'm using different function. Instead of x, write it as negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 is basically 3, but positive, using smiley faces. Plus 8, add them up, it's gonna be 11. And that's the value of f of negative 1 for this function. And that's it. So this is the first idea done. Moving forward to the second idea. Finding or writing a linear function. Linear functions look like this, as you saw before. They basically look like f of x equals a number, we call it m, the slope, times x plus b. So it's the same as linear equations, but instead of y, we write it as f of x. It's a function. Anyways, so from before, we know already how to find m and b. M, we use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's easy. Or rise over run. B, but in this case we have points, so basically this one. B, we use basically b is the value of y when the x is 0. Okay. Or we use the y-intercept. It's basically the y-intercept. So we use the other, I'm gonna explain it in a minute. Anyways, so let's start with this table. First thing, you have to know that the first row is supposed to be x, and our second row is supposed to be y. If they did not name it, you can name whatever you want. If they named it for you here, just follow it. So in this case, select any 2 points. I will select these 2 points. I know that this is y, so it's going to be y1, and that's the corresponding x1. This is y2, and that's the corresponding x2. After you name the points, make sure that you don't name them as x1, y1, x2, y2. That's wrong. The whole row is x values, so all of these are x values. It cannot be x and y. Okay? Same thing there. Now, go ahead and start working with the slope. So slope m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 32 minus y1 is 17 over x2 is 2 minus x1 is 1. And the answer here is gonna be 32 minus 17 is 15 over 1, which is basically 15. And that's the slope, m. Now, since I found the slope, how can I find b? Now, to find b, I need to follow the original method, since I don't have the value when x is 0. Like, none of these is x is 0, so I can't find the value of y. I don't know what is it. Okay, so to find b, I have to use the original method, which is y equals mx plus b. B is unknown, but m I know it as 15, and x and y can be any value. I'm going to select the first point, x1, y1. 1 is x, and y is 17. B is unknown, write it as b as it is, and start solving. So here 15 times 1 is 15 plus b equals 17. Cancel 15 from both sides, so you have to do minus 15 from both sides. And now you will have b as 17 minus 15 is 2. That's the y-intercept. Since the y-intercept is 2 and the slope is 15, I can write the function as f of x equals 15, the m, x, plus b is the 2. That's it. And this is how we write linear functions. Easy. Okay? So let's do the other one. Same idea here. Again, we select 2 points. I'm going to select the first 2 points. This is x1, x2, y1, y2. Okay? First, find the slope, m equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is basically 4 minus negative 1, pay attention at the signs, over 1 minus 0. 4 minus negative 1, this is addition basically, which is going to be 5 over 1 minus 0 is 1. The slope equals 5. Now, second point is how to find b. Again, we said that we can use y equals mx plus b. The m is 5. X and y, you can select anything, 1 and 4. And then you can solve it. But if you noticed, they already gave me the slope here. Remember, we said the slope is the value of y when x is 0. So once you have the x is 0, look at what is y. In this case, it's negative 1. So the slope is supposed to be negative 1. But if you continue with the steps here, you will also get negative 1 because the intercept does not change. So 5 times 1 is 5. Minus 5 from both sides. B equals 4 minus 5 is negative 1. As I said, it doesn't change. So if they gave it to you in the table, just take it from the table. If you're not sure about it, use the original method. Now I have the slope and the intercept. So f of x equals the slope times x plus negative 1, which is basically negative. Positive with negative is just negative. That's it. Okay, that's the m, that's the b. And we're done. Now, last idea, as I said, we will use a word problem to find the linear function. So, as they said that our friend recorded the outside temperature at 6 a.m., the temperature increases by 2 Fahrenheit every hour. That's a rate. And usually rates are slope, which is m, and initial values are the intercept, which is b. Okay, so they gave us the rate is 2, that's the m, and she recorded the initial value at 6 a.m. That's the initial value. It's negative 3. That's b. So if the temperature continues to increase at the same rate, that's so clear, What will the temperature be at 2 p.m.? That's the point. They want f of 2, yeah, I think they want it as f of how many hours? Oh, sorry. 2 p.m. is how many hours from 6 a.m.? It's basically after how many hours that would be? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. It's 7 hours away, so it's f of 7 after 7 hours because we're talking per hour, okay? Anyways, so let's start with writing the function. F of x equals mx plus b. They did not give me 2 points. They gave me the m, which is the rate. It was given to Fahrenheit every hour. It's 2. Plus b is basically the initial value. She recorded the weather outside initially at the early morning as -3. So -3. Positive with negative is negative. Now, if they told you that find for me f of 7 right away, that's easy. You know how to do it. If they asked you such a question, you will need to count how many hours from the beginning. It was 7 hours away. So f of positive 7, sorry. F of 7 is, again, instead of x, we replace it by 7 and solve. 2 times 7 is basically 14 minus 3 is 11 Fahrenheit. That's the temperature after 7 hours. Okay? Anyways, now how to graph it? To graph it, if you remember, graphing, you need to follow some steps. Step number 1 is you use the intercept, graph the intercept. Step number 2, use the slope to move. And step number 3 is to connect with a line. Okay? So first of all, the intercept, as we said, it's -3. So the point will be is where am I gonna locate it? It's gonna be located at x is 0, of course, and the y is -3 because we said it's the y intercept. So we have to go to the y axis and look for -3. It's here. Please don't locate it at the x axis. Please, I'm sure that we moved on from this mistake. Okay. Now step number 2 is to use m. M is basically, in this case, it's 2. So write it as a fraction and use rise over run to graph it. Rise 2 positive means rise 2 up. Run 1 positive means run 1 to the right. So from your point, go 2 up and 1 to the right, locate. And last step is connect with a line. So I'm gonna use a straight line to connect. Don't worry about the other points. Just connect the 2 points with a straight line. So you need a ruler. Okay, that's it. I hope that it's very clear. And we're done with the revision for this lesson. Good luck for your finals.